Hi guys, it's Amy with Aim to Plan, and today we are here going through my September planners. So I've got a big stack of planners. Let's just jump right into it. I've got 10 planners here, and I am going to just flip through the pages that I used in my paper planners for the month of September. So I've got a stack here of 5 planners and notebooks. And then there are 2 planners and notebooks there, plus these 3 big planners. So we're going to clear off my desk and just try to get through this stack and have some fun. Okay, so the first one I'm starting with is my personal catch-all planner. This is a big size that I switched in the summer to a big vertical planner that's outdated. So we're gonna get into it and see what pages I did. I've also been trying to set up for 2026, so I've got all of my 2026 pages in here, and so it's just nice and thick, and I love it. Okay, so this is where September kind of starts. I'm trying to be in frame here. So I just used a random divider just to separate it. So this one is Joy is the Beauty that blooms from a heart of gratitude. And then I was in certain months of 2025 using a monthly, but I since decided, since I was switching to the outdated pages, that I would use only weekly. So starting here with this page, what I decided to do in September was to kind of move it to a 3-week format. And so this first column is September 1st through the 7th. Then this one is the 8th through the 14th. And then this one is the 9th through the 21st. Is that correct? Yes. I should have dated it, but I thought that really worked out well to be able to see 3 weeks at a time. And so, it still has a lot of white space just because I'm really here putting the major events for our family, but you can see I cross things out. So I kind of treated it like a half monthly, if that makes sense, like it's just the next 3 weeks. So it's about half of a month. And, it really worked out. And so I enjoyed doing this so much that I continued doing it. But I also kept this. Actually, let me show you what this looks like. I have this planner right here, and I'll go ahead and show you that in September, I had daily pages in here. I actually still have some daily pages in here, so that's why I have it still in my stash. But the pages that I used and being organized, tried to put in here, I put in here. So I'm actually going to flip through that later. So the weekly then is this 3-week format that I had. So going into the next week, the same kind of concept, but I just moved everything up a week. So this is the 14th, the 21st, and the 28th, right? This turned out so cute. I loved how I kind of put the stickers, and again, I love the white space, so I really just like this format. And I am using random pages, as you can see here, so there are like these kind of weird transitions, but it should be taped together. And then this is the 21st through essentially the end of the month. And I did not go into October with kind of finishing out this format. And what ended up happening was this page was the page that I stayed on for these 3 weeks. So you will see that, okay, so again, some weird transitions, but for the 28th, I didn't use it. And for the 30th, I didn't use it. So I just used basically this for ending the month. And honestly, that really worked. So yeah, definitely something to consider moving into 2026 because I still have plenty of pages. Just to kind of preview it, for my personal catch-all, I have teacher layout pages and vertical pages for as a blend, like a mix of the between those 2 layouts for 2026. So I can do something very similar. So that is for my personal weekly. And as you saw, I pulled out the daily pages. So let's go ahead and do the daily pages for my catch-all. So these were in here, and in fact, I'll just put this in here so we can flip through all of this together. So with my daily pages, I decided in September to do a daily on one page. And so this is kind of what it looks like. I have it set up in this super cute setup. I have a like 2023 half letter size, a junior size from the Happy Planner, the organized line from Walmart that I haven't used. And so I just use it to divide by month. But this is the first page. This is actually, I guess, day 0, where I was kind of color coding for September. And then going into September 1st and 2nd, this is kind of what it looks like. It tends to lean very functional. I did use some stickers here, but you'll see as I go through that it's mostly just like highlighter, Tombows actually. And then the rest of it's just writing in my plans. So pretty straightforward, but I like having the weekly for like the big events. So these big events right here, are listed in the weekly, but then I break down by day, like work events, different events that are just like the day-to-day moments, and I just kind of write them all in here. I put social media notes in here. This is my catch-all, and so everything that I do does land in here usually, including like lunch and that type of stuff, but the detailed notes are in my specialty planners. So that's just kind of how I work. It's like it goes in two places. Right, so again, these events right here will probably be in my weekly, but then I just broke it down further in specialty planners, or I just like took additional notes around the big events. And what I ended up doing was, you can see here, these pages are empty. What I decided to do was kind of create the pages so there are 7 pages per week, so that way I can kind of easily pull it out and slip it between the weeks. And that's what I'm going to end up doing once I finish this video. So you can see here that this is the 14th. And then I just found another 15th page. I didn't even white it out. And I just put it in here to create like a new week starting on Monday. All right, so let's just flip through this then. September ended up sometimes, where I was just skipping days. For pages that I skip, just like in the weekly, as well as these daily pages that I don't use, I do just kind of put it in the back and put them back into my rotation at some point. So I did purchase this exact same planner for 2026, and so I'm excited to keep it in my lineup, but I have tons of extra pages. Again, this kind of weird transition. And so I have tons of extra pages that I can use. And sometimes I put like extra notes in here. So that is all. I'm excited. I'm excited for just continuing with daily planning. This format actually works for me. At the beginning of 2025, I was in a daily on 2-page in the classic size. That was a lot of room. That was a lot of room. All right, so that was my personal catch-all, weekly and daily. Okay, the next 2 are going to be my work planner and my work notebook. So in September, I was trying to get into taking meeting notes more long form, like by hand. And I, of course, was switching into using my daily for work. So let's just flip through it and talk to you a little bit about what happened here. So this is a Live Well planner from 2025. I was actually holding on to this to redate for 2026, but then, part of it is still current. So I decided just to go ahead and get into it and kind of use it. I mentioned in my lineup video for September that I was planning to use this page. I did not, as you can see. So we'll just get right into the daily pages. So for the daily pages, this was Labor Day, so I just stuck some stickers here. But for the daily page itself, what ends up happening is like there are 3 columns. So there is this column, which I put my meetings and events. This is the list of all the tasks that I had completed. And then this section is my to-do list. And this is a priorities list. And then across the top here, I'm just listing all of my hours. And so I'm just having a running log. So here I worked from the 1st to the 2nd about 7 hours. So that's kind of how I did it. There are some instances where like I have a meeting and then it gets canceled and I schedule a new meeting in its place. So things do kind of like flip-flop. I don't have to like be rigid about like it has to be within the column, but that's just the format. That's how like the different pages or sections of this page kind of go, and I just do that Monday through Friday. Now Saturday and Sunday end up being like a split day, but I don't use this. Usually I'm not working on Saturdays and Sundays, so that's pretty much it. And you can see it's very functional. I just use some boxes to mark the events, but otherwise I'm just going to flip through it and show you how long my to-do list is pretty much every single day. I don't rewrite my to-do list, and so these to-dos are for that day, and then I just don't move them. I do flip back in time and look for old to-dos just to be able to complete them. So sometimes I do work on Saturdays and Sundays, but otherwise it's mostly Monday and Friday, mostly just writing all the things. Here I didn't have any meetings. That's nice, but I was definitely working quite a bit. Right. Here, Rose, this is so funny. So when I pulled out this planner to kind of like get it set up for September, this was August 28th, I was trying to get it set up for September, and Rose said, I wanted to do stickers. She wants to do stickers. So she did this page. It's so cute. I think it's so cute. I ended up using a little bit of that because I was working on Saturday. All right, I took a personal day here, like a vacation day, because Sophia was at school, not at school, she was at home for a virtual learning day, so I took the day off so that way I can help her with that. Yeah, so it's just, that's pretty much it. This one was cute. I actually used some stickers here. These stickers, by the way, are from Sweet Kawaii Design. These stickers are all from Sweet Kawaii Design. Love them. Right, and that's it. And it goes straight into October. So that is pretty much my meetings and tasks, not meetings, like where I'm writing down my meetings in like its usual like hourly format, and of course all of my tasks. And then when I actually have a meeting, what I decided to do in September was to break out this meeting notebook. And so this is just like you see here, it says Make Meetings Work. And it's a cute book that I got from Amazon. And so this was originally a gift for my colleagues, for my coworkers on my team when we met up in August. And I actually ended up getting like either a 6-pack or an 8-pack. And there were only 4 gifts that I had to make for the trip. So I ended up with 2 of these books. Yeah, that should be 8. Sorry, 6. I can't math, you guys. All right, so there are a couple of pages in the front that I have not been working on, but you can see essentially it's just me taking notes. So the way it works is you put the date, time, the attendees, the objectives, meeting notes here, and then action items. What I found using this was a lot of times I will have like a kind of a weird balance where some meetings I'm taking a ton of notes and then some are very short. And so if I was like not using up the entire space, I would repeat that page and just use it for a second meeting. What I see with my schedule is like I tend to have like very regular, like they're standing meetings. And so I can use it for this, like right here, the 2nd, the 9th, the 16th, and still kind of have a reference point for 3 weeks worth of notes at the same time. So you can see how I did that here. Like the 9-9 was in pink. So those notes in here, I know it's kind of hard to see, but there are some pink notes in here. Right, and so, you know, if I used it for 2 meetings, you can see those there. And then, of course, in between meetings, I would have some notes that came up. So, like the black is the 9-4 meeting, and then the blue is, of course, the 9-11 meeting. So there's this red. The red was just all of the notes that needed to go with these people during, like, between meetings. All right, so that's kind of what it looks like. Definitely super messy. I'm taking notes in the moment. Just trying to get things written down. I skipped a page. Don't know why I did that. But I'm just trying to write things down and get things down here so that way I can keep track of things over time. I really loved this book. The problem is there are so many notes. So what I ended up doing a lot of times was writing these notes here, and things that belonged to me, like if it was something that I needed to do, I did transfer it to my daily page for that day. So it ended up being like where I was writing things multiple different times. And that works, but it was getting to be a lot. And I am in a lot of meetings. So I stopped using this in October. I'm also noticed that I stopped using it. So it's probably going to come back in November. But that was my setup. Very functional, as you can see, for my work planner. I have my planner, the planner itself, as well as a meeting notebook. Okay, let's keep moving. This one is my food log. So this was one that I recently switched up to the big size. It actually is a big size now, but before, like in the first half of 2025, was actually a classic size. So just looking at some of the beginning setups, you can see here, like here are some of the like beginning 2025 notes, but we're gonna just go straight to September. So just like with my personal catch-all, I'm using random sets of dividers and pages to be able to kind of use up those pages. So this is a teacher layout that is big size, that is just random, outdated. I'm just trying to like use up my stash. So this divider, same thing. It's just a random divider in my stash that I'm just putting in here to mark out the months. And it says the future depends on what you do today. I don't use the monthly pretty much in any of my calendars or planners. The only one I would use it for is my personal catch-all. And as you heard earlier, I didn't use it in September. So I have 0 monthly planners. Here, you can see that I did not use this planner. So unlike my personal catch-all and my work planner, which I feel like are like my workhorses for planning, I have to have those planners, my personal and my work. If I forget a week or I run out of time or, you know, I'm just sick or whatever, I can drop some of my specialty planners. And so this is one of the specialty planners where, you know, if I'm tracking my food, that's great. If I'm not tracking my food, that's okay too. It's not a necessity for me. So you can see here this week, empty. So pages like this would be pages that I would save and just kind of try to recycle back into my lineup next year. And, you know, that's how I end up with all these kind of like random, weird transition pages, because I have like these pages that I stopped using and then I flip a page and I've used this side, but the side isn't used. So I would save it to use this, but I can't use this side. All right, so that's just kind of how it works. So you can see here, the first 2 weeks I didn't use it. I decided to get back into it on the 15th of September, and so this is what it looks like. Totally skipped the weekend here. So, oh yeah, we were in Disney, so I definitely, I took photos, I'm sure, of the Disney food that we ate. Then coming back from the trip, this is what it looks like. I used 0 stickers, as you can see here, and I think it looks nice. It's obviously probably way more detailed than most people need, but I just like tracking food. I have all of these extra planners, so it just works for me. Didn't even cover up this side, but you know, I'm just referring to the dates here, and I think it just works for me. All right, so that ends with the 30th, and then that just is how it goes. So I'm definitely going to continue this. I have already noticed in October that I'm getting really spotty with using it, so I don't want to change it up, but I definitely need to be in here a little bit more if I'm going to use these pages. So that is my food log for the month of September. Okay, so moving into the second of my specialty planners, actually all of the remaining planners are what I consider my specialty planners. So this one is my family planner, and I just pulled it in terms of order just because this is the last of my big sizes. I had 3 big planners, just want to get them done with. So what I decided in September was, you can see here, just like with the food log, I started off the year in like a classic size, and I just moved it here and just upgraded it to a big size because I decided to start, actually no, in October, I decided to start into this lake and loft. So in September, I was here. So one thing that I did here is I was in this classic size. And let me just talk a little bit about what happened here. So this you can see is April to April 20th. And then I did go ahead and tape this down, right? So this is just like 2 random pages that I just taped together. And it goes straight to September. So I essentially, as you can see, skipped several months and decided in September that I would just kind of pick it back up. So this is what it looks like. It is a classic vertical that is outdated. So I redate it by stamping on sticker paper and then cutting out the sticker paper and just kind of putting it across the top here. And here I just used some random stickers from Sophia's stash just to decorate. Again, Labor Day was right here. And here what I do with my family planner is I track big events, announcements, fun stuff that's happening with my extended family. So this would be Sophia's cousins, my nieces, my nephews, my in-laws. It also goes into even further into my chosen family, my friends, all of the people that I actually am friends with on Facebook, and just tracking any big announcements that come out from them. So that's kind of what lands on these pages. So here's the 1st through the 7th. And then you can see I just completely stopped. So I did put a paper clip here. Let me just kind of show this to you. These, again, are just like all of these random pages that I, had used previously, but, I'm trying to save them and use them up again, right? So I did not do the 8th through the 14th completely empty, right? And then this was actually, funny enough, this was a page that I had decorated previously, probably in 2024, for Mother's Day. Didn't use it for Mother's Day, redated it for September, didn't use it in September. So I'm probably going to redate it a 3rd time and try to use it again. So this is what this looks like though. Super cute, right? And again, I only did that 1 week in September. That's pretty much it, as you can see here. And then, as I've already mentioned, I'm switching to a Lake and Loft planner for October. So that is for the October planner flip through. So that is my family planner with literally the 1 week that I completed. Okay, I am going to go ahead and flip through some of the pages that I did in September in my faith coloring book. So I don't really consider this a planner, more so like a notebook / journal. And one of the things that I do is, I know it's kind of hard to see, but like I write down the date and the page numbers that I'm working in. So we're going to flip through just a handful of pages here. Actually, it's probably just, I'm looking at it, probably just one. So this is just wanting to show you like everything that I've done, but this is the page that we worked on. Now I'm not quite sure why I wasn't in here, probably because I was taking notes separately, like on the bulletin for my church, and those, either I was taking notes or I just listened and I didn't take notes, and those sometimes I put them in here, but the notes themselves, like the bulletin itself, I don't put in here, just because I've noticed over the years that the bulletin has like the church name, church address, things like that. So I don't actually show that on YouTube. So yeah, I guess this is really the only page that I did. This flip through, you guys, is like one page, 1 week at a time. But that was the one page that I did in September. I thought I did way more. Okay, so now we're at our leadership planner, my leadership planner, and I know I was working in this in September, so let's take a look here. I will just preface this flip through with I might have to blur out some things. I don't think I cleaned it up for YouTube to be able to flip through it. But in September, I did pick up a clearance planner from Michaels, and so in September, I decided to start using the planner, the current pages for it. It's a 12-month planner. Actually, this is the planner, and so I started it in September because it ends in June, and I was thinking, should I redate it? No, let's just go ahead and use it. And you'll actually see that I still use date covers. It's the correct date, but I still use date covers. And just like always, I don't use the monthly. This is from my FRANKENPLANNER setup, and so I decided to break down all of my planners in September and just kind of use them separately instead of having them in a FRANKENPLANNER. And so this is it. This is just the cover that I put in front of the divider, so that way it wasn't just like a monthly like this, right? So it was just this in there. So I decided to move it here and just kind of archive it essentially. But this is the beginning of September here. So I do use these Sweet Kawaii design stickers. So this is one of the jumbo stickers. I have the Kawaii sub kit, and so the Kawaii sub kit is like stickers that are only released in that sub kit, and so I love it. But if you love these stickers, you won't be able to find these exact stickers. You'll find similar styles, but just definitely not these stickers. But this one is called Whimsywood Vertical. Love it. It's so cute, like very fall themed. And so here, I did just put the date covers, but I didn't actually use this planner this first week. You can see that. And again, I'll have to blur this out. So let me just take this out, okay? So here, this is when I started using it. So this left-hand side, you can see I rarely write on this side. So what I am writing on is essentially the right-hand side where I'm tracking all of my leadership events. And here, I just took some notes. I have my events in the actual boxes here. You can see that. All right, and going into the next week, this again turned out really cute, I think, where my meetings are in these boxes. I actually decorated this section just to like fill in that section, have lots of notes here, and again, didn't use the left-hand side. This is one of the reasons why the Simply layout really worked for me, but I ran out of those pages. I actually used most of those pages at the beginning of 2025. Love being able to use up my stash, but now I end up with kind of this weird, like partially used, so I have to end up finding a solution for how to use these pages later. Right, this is just me talking out loud. This is just kind of how I do it because I hate wasting pages, you guys. All right, so I will have to blur this out. This is like a list of names for some of my members, but again, just same thing. I have a list of members here just to be able to mark out some of the things that I was doing with them. And then here I was just taking notes for some of the conversations that we were having through text. And then I ran out of stickers, couldn't find the stickers, so I had to kind of make my own sticker here with just like a highlighter. All right, again, weird transition, and the reason for this is because in the beginning of 2025, I was trying to keep the entire month behind its divider, and so here's September 29th and 30th. I just kind of filled it in with a page. And again, I have to blur this out. There are member names here, but I made my own sticker, wrote this is super cute, right? And then I just have like notes to myself, and this is the Simply layout, because this is, you can see the left-hand side. And again, to me, the Simply layout worked out the best for me, just because I didn't need that much room to like take notes. But that is that for September, and I really love using the Sweet Kawaii design stickers for this planner just to redate or like just to make it cute, and then take all of those notes that I need for my leadership stuff. So I'm in Junior League and several other organizations, and so those are the notes that end up kind of landing in here. Okay, this is the second to last one. I'm actually going to zoom in because this is so like tiny otherwise, right? So this is my social media planner. I'm pretty sure I didn't use this at all, but we're gonna get in here and see what I did. Okay, so this is August. I don't have dividers in here. I trimmed off all the dividers at some point. All right, so this is August, all right? And then this is August to the 31st. So let's go here into September, all right? So we have here, oh, I wrote in here, so here's what it looks like. I didn't use any stickers, you can see, but this is my social media planner where I'm tracking YouTube videos, like when I film, when I edit, when I upload things. You can see I try to film in batches, and then I just kind of like space out the editing and uploading of those videos. I also post about Instagram, and usually I also post in here any planner releases. So if there's something like a big release from a small planner company, I put those types of notes in here. But it's such a small space. Like this week, I didn't have really the space to write those notes in, but some weeks I do, right? So, and some weeks I have extra notes. So this is just a list of all of the tasks from the previous week that I just kind of transferred over into like this card. This is a 3x4 card that I just taped in, and then you can see the rest of the week. Again, very functional. I didn't write anything, or I didn't use any stickers. I definitely wrote things in. All right, and then here is the 15th through the 21st. I wanted to show you this. So I have a couple of notes here. So this is from the 17th, right? So right here. And so I filmed and did some editing and uploading. So that's just an extra note for that day. And then the other thing was mid-September, right? This week right here. So you see September 15th, I decided to start planning out my 2026 lineup. I have all of these planners. So you can see, I just listed them all here, and then I wrote down all the planners that I used in 2025, and then I added a couple of planners, like my home binders, essentially, and I try to match them up. So I might do a separate video to kind of talk through this particular sheet. Let me know if you're interested in that. I just try to plan it out on paper because that just helps my brain. I have pulled this out multiple times in the subsequent weeks just to be able to set up and plan for, you know, what I want to do for 2026. So I've looked at that multiple times. And, you know, I'm also like, that's the September version. October version might be a little bit different. The November version might be a little bit different. And of course, like once I get into 2026, I might change my mind quite a bit. Right. So here you can see I wrote this one little line, and that's it for September. This page actually ended up matching, but I had to redate this slide, and then the 29th and 30th, right? And that's pretty much it. So this is the 31st. That's obviously not correct for September, but these pages you can see are not used. So again, what I would do is at this point, these pages right here, like this one, I would probably just, I don't know. But like starting here, I could just redate it for October, and spoiler alert, I haven't even done that, right? So like, it's still like, I haven't done anything for October in this thing. So yeah, that was it for September. I had a couple of weeks in there, and that worked out pretty well for me. Okay, and then the last little planner that I've got is this cute little planner that I use for my expense tracking. So this is about the size of a micro, so 3x4 approximately. And let's just get into September. I guess I could just tell you, spoiler alert, I didn't write a single thing in here, but I did decorate it. So I did write, actually, I lied. I wrote that right there. So I did start writing my expenses in here, but you can see I wrote that, but the rest of the week is empty. And then here's the 8th through the 14th. Didn't write anything in here. I did decorate it though, super cute. Right, then here's the 21st. Here's through the 28th. That turned out super cute. And then you can see here, this is basically starting October, and I didn't decorate it, didn't write in it. And spoiler alert, the rest of October is empty too. So yeah, I have not been good about putting this in here. I have a stack of receipts waiting to transfer in here. I just haven't done it yet. So it really takes no time. I'm just not quite sure why I haven't made the time to just update this and call it done. But I love like tracking my expenses, and so yeah, I'm just really surprised with myself really that I've deprioritized this, because this is actually one of the things that I think is most important, is to prioritize your budget and know where your money is going, but I haven't done it. So yeah, I'm kind of beating myself up about that, but this one did not get any love. It did not at all. Okay, so we're going to pull all the planners. And put them on screen so you can see them all. Okay, I've got this giant stack right here of planners. I need to zoom out. This is way close. All right, so we've got a stack right here. And we got this stack right here. And again, I flipped through 10 notebooks / planners for this flip through. You could see that I was very consistent in my personal and my work planners and notebooks, but for the rest of it, it was very spotty. And that tends to happen. It tends to happen, especially when I'm busy, and definitely going into the last months of 2025, I feel very busy. So I do what I can, and I enjoy my planners, but I also feel like if I had to, I can go down to just a work planner and a personal planner, and that would be okay for me. But I did want to show you what everything looked like for September. I apologize for posting this video so late in the month of October, but I have to get to it when I have to get to it, when I have the time to get to it. So I hope you enjoyed this flip through. to see all of the pages, all the functional pages and cute pages that I was able to work in September. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a thumbs up, leave comments, questions if you have any of those, and until the next video, bye guys.